Hey guys, Midnight Sun here, doing a video guide on how to get through the season journey up until the headrigs gift. This opening kind of thing shows you a little bit of a glimpse on some of the luck that we get during this video. But to get started, we're going to go ahead and first make our way to the season journey page and check out what needs to be done. So there's a lot of things to focus on here and some things that you could do in a different order or different priority. My go-to is always to level up each of these vendors as high as I can possibly get, just because it's going to make it easier to do any training or crafting that you need to do. And I've already got the blacksmith to level 12. So after doing that, we're going to go ahead and check our gear, make sure that there's nothing major that needs to be changed. And then we're going to make our way over to the jeweler to see if there's anything that we can craft. We don't have enough gems, but we have one to do one of these really quick ones right away, which is simply putting a gem in the socket, removing it over and over again until you get the seasonal socketing. After that, our focus should be primarily on doing the act bounties. So we're going to start with Act 1 and make our way over to the different objectives. Our damage is pretty good on Torment 2 right now, so we don't have to worry too much about the monsters. If this is too difficult, there's no rule that says you can't lower it down to normal difficulty. It just means that you more than likely won't get as many items, and it's a little bit harder for you to get some of your bounty drops. So I'm just doing it on Torment 2, as I found that the items that I found when leveling up are relatively good in terms of doing all of the damage and stuff around here. And doing these bounties don't take too much longer compared to lowering the difficulty down to normal, where I would just be kind of one-shotting them anyway. So for all of the bounties in this, we're going to stay on Torment 2. If we found something that was incredibly good, like the Bloodside Blade, we might even rank it up a little bit higher. And while doing the Act 1 bounties, as shown in the video earlier, I did come across whimsydale. Now this is an enormous area and it gives you so many items, so I took the time to kind of fill out my follower whenever I got anything that was really good, and then just got a lot of gems in this area. Now I don't expect most of you to get lucky enough to run into this, although I'd hope everybody who does watch this video is granted by the gods of Diablo 3 and get the luck. We got a few legendary items in here as well, and of course a lot of things to scrap. So the items that you get from these presents and the death breath and forgotten souls in here are pretty plentiful, and I had to make several trips back to town to drop off a little bit of all these items and stuff like that I got in here. So this was a huge boost. I tried not to use as many of these things to my advantage as I could, but anything that was important enough to actually equip, we went ahead and threw that on. I love the Herodic Hamburger. It's one of my favorite items to get in this game, especially when it happens suddenly each season. So stored anything that was kind of useless, scrapped all the rest, and anything that was essential for the build we could extract if needed. So after doing that, we're going to go ahead and scrap everything for the material, equip on anything that has decent items. We got the Wailing Host there and one of the green set items. I recommend storing all of your set items regardless of if you're going to use them or not, because they could be potentially useful later on depending on what you get. On our way over through the next bounties, we did run into a goblin over here. So it's just a normal one. It never tends to drop anything all that exciting, but we'll get it all the same. And then shortly later, we ran into a vision. Now, at this point, we're pretty far into this place, and I kind of debated whether or not I should go into the vision. That freezing right there made me decide, okay, we might as well go in it since it's here. And we got the goblin level, which is just amazing. Now, the only problem is I'm not doing as much damage as I would like in here to these goblins, so it's possible for some of these to get away. So I'm doing my best to target ones that are at least able to be kept, and getting as much stuff out of here as I possibly can. So we did get a good amount of Death Breath in here and Forgotten Souls. At this point, we've stacked up enough that we could go to the cube if we wanted to. But instead, I'm just choosing to get all of the plans that I got on here and continue through and pretend like I didn't get this large amount of Death Breath. which would be very useful for getting, you know, something like the Blood Tide Blade or any other random legendary equipment that we want to equip on us. And it could be useful for leveling up an alt character as well, so we're going to hold on to that for a bit here. As always, store anything that's useful, scrap anything that's not. Most of this stuff wasn't very useful. I did get an ancient necklace there, which had some better stats and some poison damage, which is great because what I'm currently using is a poison-based build. Just one that I kind of created. I went ahead and throw on anything that emanates on my follower, just to help me out whatever small amount that I possibly can. So after doing that, we're going to go ahead and make our way back through the vision that we just had. We did get some elites and some items, and of course after the end of the thing we get our bounty mats as usual. So we were already there, might as well go ahead and continue through with the vision. And then we went back to Queen Arane and finished up the kind of act bounty area there. So the reason we're doing these act bounties first, 1 through 5, is because we need to anyway. Secondly, because we're hoping that we can get a Ring of Royal Grandeur or any of the other bounty material items. It does also drop some blood shards, which is needed as well. In this case, we didn't get anything that we were looking for, but we did get to spend some of our blood shards. I am saving up a majority of these for starting an alternate character later on. And I've already got most of the items that I need, and I really don't think I'm going to get anything too good. So I just pick whatever works best and try and get, you know, something better out of it. And then we're going to continue back to doing our bounties. As I go through the bounties, I run into a few more goblins. Made sure to spend some of my Paragon points because I can't tell you how many times I've gone through these things and forgot to put in something like movement speed or, you know, armor, resist all, whichever is beneficial for the character at the time. After doing that, we're going to continue through with the Act 2, killing the boss there. And then we're going to hope, again, that we get something decent. We just get some more plans, but the plans are fairly useful. We're going to make our way over to Act 3 and do all of the Act 3 bounties as well. I kind of like to look around and see if there's anything that particularly is quicker or easier to do at the beginning. And we do, of course, get a couple decent items while running these bounties. Make sure you save any helmet piece in particular, as it's needed for the altar. We got a green goblin in this area as well, which gave us some more death breath and forgotten souls. And another green goblin on the way to doing some of the Asmodan portal bounties. So we're going to go ahead and kill Asma over there and open up another bounty chest and see if there's anything useful that pops out. We do get an amulet, but it wasn't what we were looking for. We did get the plans for the Guardian set, so we're going to equip those right away. The Guardian set is going to be a huge boost to our damage, and our follower can always equip the Sages. While doing another bounty, we double-checked as we were near Diablo anyway to see if he was on the journey here. And he was, and we were on the right difficulty, or at least the high enough difficulty, so we went over and watched his flashy explosion and decided to get that knocked out of the way while we're already there. Makes sense. After doing that, we finished up the rest of our bounty, and we got our headrigs gift for this one. And we got a Ring of Royal Grandeur, which is absolutely amazing. Now at this point it was pretty late, so I decided to call it good for the night and finish up the rest of this the next evening. I was a little bummed that it was ancient there because I was going to have to extract it anyway. And we finished up the Act 5 area the next day. So overall, this has taken me about an hour and 10 minutes or so to get to this point through doing all of the Acts 1 through 5 and casually doing some of the other ones anyway. And this was primarily because I didn't take as much time enchanting my gear. I didn't do a lot of stuff to make sure I had a lot of movement speed on my items. And I was getting pretty lucky with a lot of these visions and portals, so I hung out in those for a little bit. I do have a lot of materials on hand, which is going to make the rest of the season journey so much easier if I wanted to do any of the crafting. But we finished up our Acts 1 through 5 bounties there. And now we get to kind of focus in on the rest of the season journey. So after doing that, we're going to go ahead and transmogrify an item since we need to. This doesn't matter what item it is or what you put it to, so just click on something random. Now for the enchanting, the items that you have impact how much the enchanting cost is. So if you're using a legendary item, it's going to cost Death Breath and Forgotten Souls. So with that being said, I think it's better to go over to the forge here and click on the second scythe down, as it's a kind of medium leveled scythe, and it should be able to roll a socket on it as well, and it's going to cost way less materials. So now when we go to enchant on it, it's going to be a significantly reduced cost for us, and it's going to be much easier to roll a socket onto because it's going to have less clutter on the item, and it's, again, going to be a lot cheaper. So you can see that I'm not getting it right off the bat, and I'm actually spending quite a bit. If this was on the legendary item, I would just be bleeding Death Breath and Forgotten Souls away. But we get it relatively short after just a few tries. Then we go over and make sure we got a Imperial or Flawless Hired Gem for the Season Journey. I went ahead and crafted a ring on here because I thought I hadn't done that yet, but apparently I had, or maybe it's just not part of this Season Journey. And then we have to go on a boss killing rampage. So we start with Adria, then we make our way over to Gome, who's probably one of the ugliest bosses in this game. And then we make our way over to the unlustiest out of all of them. We finish off with Magda, and we made a little bit of a mistake there. And then we go and do Raknoth, which rewarded us with a Flavor of Time item for our follower. Now we're going to increase the difficulty to Torment 4 to go do the Key Guardians. And the reason I haven't done any of the Nephilim Rifts is because I like to do them all at once through Torment 4. It will keep the progress of all the lower quality Greater Rifts, or Nephilim Rifts. And we're going to make our way over to the Key Guardians, and as you can see, I don't have a problem doing this with my current loadout. It's relatively easy to kill all of the Key Guardians here, and that's just the same items that I've had on since the beginning of the game, with maybe like one or two minor tweaks, but nothing significant. This Key Guardian over here did drop me a really nice ring, boots, and they're the Stuart Greaves boots, which happen to give me a huge boost in my speed, and it allows me to move significantly faster, which is going to be incredibly helpful going forward. And I think it's also used in a speed farming version of the Trag'Oul Death Nova build. So every single time I teleport, it just ups my movement speed like crazy, which allows me to actually navigate through the chapters pretty nice. I ran into some blue goblins here, but again, I don't have too much damage on my items right now, just enough to kind of barely do Torment 4. So this made getting all of these relatively difficult, and I missed a couple of them, but I did. It's always great to get Death Breath, it's always great to get some items to scrap, and at the end of that I did get a green item as well. So helmets are always useful. Finally, we kill the last Key Guardian over here. And then we make sure that we scrap everything that we can, put on anything useful to our follower. I found a Trag'Oul in that helmet there, which I absolutely love and farm for on the Necromancer. It's my kind of go-to build, so I almost always put those on whenever I get them, just to kind of get the damage boosts. And then we're going to go ahead and make our way over and do a Nephilim Rift finally. Now, for my character and for the build that I have going here, this Nephilim Rift is no big deal. The worst part about it is simply navigating it and having a lack of monster density. So I'm just going to go ahead and try and target elites and move through the areas. If I get a Nephilim Rift I don't like, I'm just going to reset the game and close the rift until I get something that's actually of good quality. So we kill the boss over here. He gives us another item. And we get some blood shards on the ground there. Now this is the one of the best rings that I could have gotten, which is I got the Andariel's Visage there, and I got an Ancient Brig's Wrath, which again is used in a lot of the kind of Necromancer builds and pulls the target area, and another ancient item when spending some of those blood shards at Kadala. So we went ahead and equipped those on, double checked our skills, and at this point we're ready to finally run a Greater Rift level 20 and get through the rest of the season journey. Now, if you're struggling with getting the Greater Rift level 20, if you don't have any set items on, then I'd recommend doing 2 Greater Rifts to get a Bane of the Powerful and a Legacy of Dreams. Those items are going to boost any legendary items that you have on you and increase your damage significantly. If you're struggling still, you could also farm for the Guardian set. The Guardian set is going to be huge for keeping you alive and also boosting your damage. You can see here that we went through this Greater Rift really fast and didn't struggle too much with the items that we currently have on. especially with the pylons helps. So we're going to go ahead and take out the Rift Guardian here and pick up the items. Again, the first item to drop, I believe, is always a Bane of the Powerful, and if it's not, then I've gotten incredibly lucky and just gotten that as the first item for the past 30 times in a row. So we're going to go ahead and upgrade that to the maximum amount that we possibly can, and maybe throw it on a character if we really need it later on in life. And I mentioned earlier that we made an heir. That heir was the fact that Magda needed to be defeated on Torment 4 difficulty. So after we realized that, we went ahead and went back to her and knocked her out, getting rewarded with a bit of an item there as well. And since she was one of the bounty things, we got some Imperial gems and some, random gold from it. So now at this point, as soon as we go back and close the Greater Rifts, we have completed everything that we need to. And it took us an hour and 40 minutes total, I believe, looking back at some of this footage. So it didn't take us all that long to get through it. We've got the Headrigs gifts. If we had been opening the Headrigs gift on our character, we could have done this significantly faster. The reason we didn't do that is because we have some other classes that are kind of compelling and probably have better Headrigs gifts, but would have taken significantly longer to go through the season journey and complete all of these things. Again, on the Necromancer, if we found the Bloodtide Blade, the fastest time I've ever done the season journey is about an hour, so it can be done incredibly fast. You see there's all of the classes that you could open up this gift on. You can open it up on a level 1 character with the altar and equip it. So I'm going to create a Demon Hunter because that has one of the best farming builds, and if I don't like the Unhallowed Essence build, I can always continue to farm until I get through the God Spin to Win set, which tends to be my go-to experience and farming build, and then maybe go back to the Necromancer for pushing to a higher Greater Rift, as I've already got a good foundation built there. So at that point, we've done everything that we need to do. We've finished it all, and we just get to decide which character we want to actually open the Headrigs gift on. I'll probably be doing another video on reaching Paragon 800, just kind of a fast and efficient process in terms of doing that, and we'll do it on this Demon Hunter that we've got created here. But that's basically the end of the video. So if you liked what was done here and the format that it's done in, please let me know by dropping a like. If you have recommendations or you want me to do certain build guides or go into more depth on some of these things, check out my channel. I might have done a video on it already, but if I haven't, then I will go ahead and make one for you guys. I'm new to YouTube. I'm new to this whole process, so I'm trying to get better every single time, and I'm trying to improve. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope you guys get the great luck, and I hope you guys get ancient items. So have a good one. Bye.